And welcome back, everyone, to Meta HSE, where we have our second best of three final here on the lower bracket. And before earlier in the day, we did get to witness two of our teams battling it out. De La Salle, the representative from Victoria, unfortunately were not able to make that next step forwards. And now we had the winner of that matchup, which is Botany Downs Secondary College, our representative from New Zealand, facing off against their opponents for this second best of three tonight. That is, of course, going to be Mansfield State High School, the representative from Queensland. My name is Midnight. Joining me for this best of three series is going to be Mendrix. And Mendrix, it should be quite exciting as these two teams will be soon battling it out.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see as well what Mansfield decides to do here as well. They did get a chance to watch that best of two series prior, so they have been seeing what particular champions that Botany is warmed up on right now, and also at the same time can sort of look at what their strategy is going to be, who is going to be the target bands they need to worry about, who's looking really hot at the moment. And I mean, we can really see there are a number of things that will sort of drive from it. Obsess is J4, of course, Dilma having that ability to move around the map is definitely going to be hard to lock down. A lot of choices here in terms of what they need to get rid of on the board because every member on the side of Botany Downs looking very strong.
Yeah, they look very dominant in their 2-0 victory earlier today. And I wonder, well, will they be able to carry that through? Obviously, they did have to reveal quite a few champions that they had in their wheelhouse there. Some we did know, and some that we maybe weren't expecting. The Cassiopeia, for example, wasn't something I was expecting to see today, but is obviously something that is comfortable in the hands of the Botany Downs mid laner there. So it'll be quite interesting to see pick and ban, because obviously, even with the bit of a break that the members of Botany Downs have had, would that mental maybe play a little bit? You know, you're on a bit of a roll. Whereas if you're Mansfield, you're coming in here, maybe you've done some solo queue practice, sure, but that's still a little bit of a different experience.
Absolutely. It is definitely, as you mentioned, a different feeling that you're going to be going into it when you do manage to defeat an opponent as part of the tournament, as a part of actual, result play. You do get a little bit of momentum coming out of it. You do feel a little bit better. That idea that I guess you could say the chemicals are rushing in particular ways, and hopefully that means that you're going to be a little bit more confident in terms of it comes to executing your attacks, in terms of what you want to do. Whereas on the flip side of things, we're looking at Mansfield. Yeah, they've got an idea of what they're going up against. They have a few advantages there. They do have the disadvantage, like you said. Perhaps they warmed up in a solo queue match. Maybe there's a bit of confidence they need to play through, a little bit of the shakes. That's something that has already been overcome here now by Botany Downs, and that's something they're going to have to do as well. So if there's a possibility of them taking out this game, I would expect it to at least be a 2-1, purely on that basis. That I reckon coming to bat right first, Botany Downs is going to be a little bit hotter.
Yeah, well, we'll find out, obviously. Running in on the roll should be giving Botany a bit of an advantage, but then again, if you're Mansfield, you're already in a dominant position, right? You've already, sort of proven, if you will, that you are a stronger team because you made it further in the upper bracket than your opponents did. So they should be feeling pretty confident there. Obviously, guys, there is a bit of a delay as we're still waiting for all of the players to hop into the lobby here, Mendrix. But
Yep.
while we wait for everyone to get in, I do want to ask you a bit of a question.
Yep.
All right, now, are you ready?
I hope so.
What is the first pick of this game?
Man, I'm good, but I'm not a god. Like, come on. First pick of the game.
Yes.
Wait, do I have a choice of only one champion? Do I have a choice of multiple? Can I say, if this champion's not banned, what do I expect it to be?
Yes,
okay.
That would be an acceptable answer.
Okay. I feel if Aphelios is not banned, he's first pick.
Mm-hmm.
If Ziggs, and then like down the line, if Ziggs is not banned, he's the next pick up.
Uh-huh.
And who would be the one off the bat? Like, you want to throw in like a bit of a one that's a bit like a bit niche, but a bit of a wild. I feel like the wild card first pick is set.
Wow. Ooh. You're not wrong. I'm going to say, really? Set? I'm like, no, that's the whole point of it. It's the wild card guess, ain't it?
I feel like it's going to be either those two, and then like, okay, if those ones are both banned out, probably, you haven't put too much emphasis on the top lane, and hopefully Set's available for the pickup. So those are my three sort of picks. But
Fair enough.
that again, like that is all dependent on who gets banned, who's going to be the thing there. It's impossible to know what the first pick
Oh,
is
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be.
Look, I mean, I figured I would just throw a completely impossible question at you and figured how you'd answer. Because again, we don't know. Like, we don't. Sure, we have an idea what Mansfield are going to bring to the table, but they are so flexible, and it's been a week since
Yeah,
we've seen Mansfield play. Obviously, we haven't seen them play previously. So while Botany it will be a little bit easier to read, their opponents will be less so.
yeah.
Obviously, though, it will be time as we will be getting into the game. Hopefully, the players do press the start game button.
Fingers
And
crossed.
hopefully, I think they can figure that part. If they can right click on the enemy champions, I like to think you can also right click on the start game button.
Well, the question is, how the hell did they make it into a League of Legends tournament if they don't even know how to start the game? I think
I mean,
that's the real question here. You're talking about like, well, I hope if they can right click, they can press start game. Man, they had to install the game onto the computer, click yes to a number of yes. All right. Not only that, like play a few games as well, and then be rated a decent point because these guys are all ranked as well. I'd be really concerned if they don't know how to click a start game.
I mean, you say that. I once, if you're talking about the lack of technical knowledge, I don't know if you know this, Mendrix. I spent 3 years casting about a graphics card.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I,
technical knowledge
I
isn't all
remember
there.
I remember you talking to Tico having issues when he built your computer, and I'm just like, how do you not know these things, Midnight? Like
I know.
you've been a commentator for 3 years, that like you've been operating in this space for who knows how long. So fair enough, it's true. I guess it can. There is a relative point of that as well. I
A
guess.
series of mistakes were made, and that's all I'm willing to admit
Yeah,
in a public theater such as a
yeah,
commentary
yeah.
box. So you know what? I'm going to distract us a little bit here as we will be starting off our second, sorry, best of three series here, and the first game of our second best of three will be kicking off here. The Fiddlesticks removal makes sense if memory serves. There is a particular love for this champion on the Mansfield side, and of
Yep.
course the
And that
uh,
was banned out the last series that we
oh
got
yeah.
to. We had the privilege of watching them as well. Pretty much every single time, Fiddlesticks was taken off the board. So understandable that perhaps what they're doing here is just making sure there's one of the boys I was thinking would be first pick. Just take it away. So my chances have now gone from 3 out of 3 to 2 out of 3. So we'll see how we go.
I'm feeling confident though. The fact that it's been banned does show that it's high on the priority list. As the second ban coming up, Botany is going to be the Jax there. Kip Kangaroo is a bit of a brawler up on that top lane, so I do quite like to see that removed because God Blitz looked, despite the CS troubles in the early game, didn't look bad on the Malphite. Now, Malphite isn't available. They're just banning. They're just banning what they saw last game, which I mean,
They really
fair
are.
enough. Honestly, understandable strategy. Coming through here, and the final ban is going to be that Tryndamere. The Tryndamere has been sort of rising in the Elo ranks recently,
Yep.
and I do quite like to see that being taken off of the board. It opens up the likes of Gwen. It opens up the likes of LeBlanc in the middle lane.
Oh, Trundle.
But
I don't even
the
think about it.
Trundle
No,
has snuck
Trundle.
his way
You
through
know
the
why?
ban
Because he's
list.
always bad. How
He's
can I think?
always bad. And then
Like,
things locked in first to the other side. We'll give it to you, Mendrix, there, because you did call it. And Obsess having access to the Jarvan as usual.
I literally honestly thought Trundle was gonna be banned, which is why I'm like, oh yeah, Trundle is literally just completely went through. I'm like, he's gonna be banned. Like, there's no way he's gonna get it. But of course, he skips it through the line. And on the flip side of things, I do like the fact that hey, you've given up a relatively high priority champion, obviously in the fact that Trundle has been picked up here, but you do also get some pretty good priority on your side in the red by picking up, of course, the Ziggs and the J4 respectively.
Yeah, but on the opposite side already, the Vayne, the people's answer to the Ziggs, because you can just dodge out of the bombs. But there's one thing that kind of alarms me, Mendrix, which is when we did see the Ziggs, it wasn't in Snow's hands, it was in Dilma's.
Correct.
And the question will be then, are you willing to flex the Vayne to the middle lane to keep the good matchup that you have actively tried to push yourself into?
Hell no. No way in hell would you flex the Vayne to mid. No chance. That is a recipe for absolute disaster. Like, There's so many issues with that. She's got no wave clear. Yes, she can bounce around, but if a J4 decides to come in from behind, she's not really going to be able to get out of it. There's too many issues with it. She needs a support. She needs someone to keep her alive. She's definitely one of the most fragile flowers at the start of the game. Obviously has very big payoff towards the end there. And Ziggs is just going to have a field day in the mid lane against her.
Yeah, assuming that is though amid Ziggs, because with the lock-in of the Karma, something that Dilma did show, if memory serves.
No, that was Zen. Yeah,
then it showed it
last time.
But locking in the Karma, that means that the Ziggs in Karma is flexible coming into this match here, which
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
and part of it, another thing to take into account here as well is that now typically the Karma is normally picked up to pair with the Vayne, so you can really have like that massive protection, the ability to allow the Vayne to really thrive in those team fights. If they do have a plan to keep the Karma and synergize it well with another champion pick, or perhaps a particular plan on how they're going to utilize it throughout the game, it's fantastic pinch away.
Yeah, should be. I'm really excited to see the flexibility. Like, is this the Karma top, mid, or bottom lane? Is it going to be? Is it Ziggs going to go? It's got a lot of flexibility in what goes where, and I must say, I love that out of a draft.
Yeah, we can definitely pinpoint one of the champion picks here. Of course, that J4 and Obsess is definitely going to be going in the jungle.
It's going to be obvious.
And on the flip side, Vayne, 100%, I reckon that's going to be going in the bottom lane. I know you said, hey, do you flex it mid? No chance.
No chance in hell.
Here's the thing, right?
Okay.
Vayne could be flex top. That's the only other place.
Oh, don't do that.
Well, it's true.
Right? No.
What do you mean no? It's
no.
True.
I don't want to see a Vayne top.
I'm not being mean. I'm being objective here, okay?
And I don't want to see Vayne top lane. I'm being subjective. I don't want to see that.
Why not?
Because I was a top laner for 4 years.
Does it bring back some It brings back some painful memories, doesn't it?
It brings back season 6 memories where Lucian, Vayne, Corki were all being played. Tristana were all being played top lane. Yeah. And all I can think of is pain. So I don't really want to have relive those memories, Mendrix. As on the other side of the board, the Jhin locked in means it is likely to be Ziggs in the middle lane, with Karma still being a bit more on the flexible side of things. Don't know, it could be top. But Godblitz, I don't really feel like as much of a Karma player, honestly. I feel like giving them a bit more of a bruiser would be a bit more appropriate. And given the fact that Kip Kangaroo is looking at a Fiora, I feel like you need something that has a bit more health than a Karma.
Yeah, definitely the case. So the Karma is still pretty decent. Actually been able to move around and keep things going. To be honest, Fiora, of course, has the ability to gap close, but Karma having that range initially early should be able to put out some decent damage, especially if you do decide to go tank Karma, which is a bit disgusting to deal with, I must admit. But Ornn's definitely a good response in return for this. Of course, you're providing a lot of value, fantastic engage. And this is one of the things I really love about Botany Downs, is that when they do put their team composition together, they have everything that you want. You've got wave clear, you've got engage, you have a tank front line, you've got decent back line, you've got the right level support. Everything seems to make sense in terms of what you do. There isn't really any of those big weak points that you can have. On the flip side of things here, yes, they've got a good front line in the Trundle, they've got the engage with Orianna, but I don't really see who's the ball delivery system, so it's really lacking the engage. On the flip side of that, though, excellent wave clear, amazing pick potential in that Morgana. So that really is going to be their key sort of, okay, I'll go button. We've managed to catch someone out. But obviously on the flip side, Obsess's J4 just seems to have so much value when he does make those engage happen. There's been a few that maybe didn't hit the mark, but I feel 9 times out of 10, he does know when he wants to go in, and it ends up being effective.
Yeah, and I'm very interested to see the battle between our two junglers here, because that should set up the rest of the map, right? Fiora wants to push into Ornn, but Ornn has some bite back because of the brittle, percentage health damage. Orianna Ziggs should be a relatively passive lane. Ziggs likes to wave clear, Orianna likes to wave clear. I wouldn't expect much hell even from the junglers to come visit mid. Bottom lane, though, that's a party and a half. Jhin, depending on who you ask, is one of, if not the strongest early game AD carries because of just how hard those damn 4 shots hit. Karma, great poke, great damage output, up against Vayne, lacking in range, and Morgana, who is sort of lacking in actual damage. She's set up, but she isn't damage output. So
That's a great point because part of the reason you're able to dodge out most of the abilities from the Ziggs is purely because he typically likes to throw it onto the minions, and that allows it to sort of spread out. So if Vayne is trying to duck in and use the minions as protection, Karma's range with the mantra and the Q is damn near impossible to avoid if it does land. Like if it ends up being just a little bit on the mark, even if Vayne tumbles, it's probably still going to be in the same radius, and she's going to have to cop the damage involved with that. So I really do feel by having this Karma and of course the Jhin, the Vayne's going to be in a lot of trouble. The Morgana will do a decent job with the Black Shield, but there's no real sustain there. So I am really expecting Botany Downs to have a massive advantage in the spot lane because even though Morgana's got excellent wave clear as well, I guess you could say pushing and lane priority, there's no way you can match both the Karma and Jhin in comparison. Like Vayne just doesn't have that same level of pushing power into unless you get an item specifically for it. The kit's just not there. So it is possibly, it's definitely going to be possible that Jhin and Karma or Snow Blue in this case and Danny can really put some extra pressure in this bot side of the map, which could open up dives from J4 and on. Obviously, we have seen those TPs be used to great effect. Also, you can use the Ziggs basically just walk halfway down the river and just lob a bomb. Pretty good as well at the same time of things. So I can expect that to be the case. On the flip side of things, though, that does mean that it opens you up for ganks. That means that Hats will have way more opportunities to possibly force ganks down on the bot side because, of course, their lane's going to be shoved in. That means the setup is a bit easier for him to force something if he wants to make it happen.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I want to really track our junglers. Obsessed, we know, can get a good lead. How we've seen it today already and can sort of snowball the game in his team's favor. But can Hats, nullify that kind of pressure? What build is Hats going to go for? Is he going to go for the standard Divine Sunder? Is he going to go for something a bit more spicy? That I will not mention until we get into the game itself. Speaking of that, guys, we will be going to a short break. But when we come back, game number 1 between our two teams, Mansfield State High School, and of course their opponents, Botany Downs Secondary College, will be battling it out for the first game in our best of 3. So don't go anywhere. And game number 1 for our second best of 3 is about to kick off, guys. Remember, this is in the lower bracket where these teams, there is no second chances, Mendrix. There is no redemption story. It is here and now that these teams have to make their climb for the grand final. And for our two teams, of course, Mansfield representing Queensland and Botany Downs representing New Zealand, they've got to step up here. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is do or die. The next real obstacle is going to be in front of them, which is, of course, is going to be Kingsgrove North, aka the Panda Republic, who have been performing extremely well as well. So these guys need to be up to the task. And when I think about it, when I think about Botany Downs, the way they play, when I've seen Mansfield in the past as well, I know for a fact these guys do have the goods. They definitely can give the Panda Republic a run for their money. So really expecting these guys to step up, shine here, basically have that team synergy in place here, because that seems to be the name of the game at the moment. tournament. Individual player skill is nice to have, but every single time I've seen players who are a little bit, willing to give up that lane advantage to make sure that there's going to be an overall net win for the entire team, those have been the ones that have managed to win through this competition. So teamwork is now more important than ever.
Yeah, and well, we
Oh,
some early game shenanigans. Ignite is down. Dunny is almost
He's
gonna die. He's gonna die to that one. First blood and snow doesn't have the damage output, but Blazing needs to be careful because one more shot will do it. The heal comes out, not able to load the fall-off shot there, and 2 kills going in early. Mansfield, this is exactly the start they needed.
Oh, and they've got enough time to go back as well and buy items to bring themselves back into it. They might miss maybe 1 or 2 minions, but I think it's completely worth the back timing as well directly afterwards. And that was definitely a bit of a misstep there. They should have dropped the water in from behind just to see if perhaps the members were there. And all of it does come down to the fact that this Morgana pick had so much value being able to shoot out first from that fog of war, and that allowed them to set up how they wanted to really go and make the play. You could tell Snowblue and Danny were thinking, who are we going on? Must be Blazing Spirit, but Blazing Spirit and Shiloh having that extra 2 seconds to call that beforehand, were able to focus fire, divide and conquer.
Yeah, and what a good start there. And it's really unfortunate Danny and Snow, they weren't there obviously first, and as a result, were not able to start the trade in their favor. Now, we did talk about the matchup difference between these, the Jhin and the Vayne, and that's why, but they got first blood. Why are they already being pushed in? Because that's the nature of the matchup. That's just the nature of Vayne into Jhin, of Morgana into Karma. But the fact that they already have a decent chunk of gold under their back pocket coming into the match is a brilliant sign of life, because again, as long as they survive this laning phase, they're fine.
Yeah, absolutely right in that sense. And as you can see, just happy to let this get pushed in as well. Another clear factor here that I really would hope would get abused by Hats is the fact they're down summoners. I would just 100% be bringing this Trundle down to this bot lane here to continue to benefit this. Just start a snowball here, use that away to make a win, but Obsessed, he wants to start in the mid lane.
Yeah, closer, not flashing in time, and just gets nuked. A kill even being left for Dilma by his jungler there. Again, you talk about teamwork being important, and well, you're leaving kills to ensure the right member gets the right amount of gold.
Yeah, and I really like the way Obsessed also pathed that as well. You can tell typically around that mark, that's normally when the junglers are going to be collecting through their scuttles. In this case, Obsessed decided to skip that, took a little bit of a risk, and it paid out dividends. Was able to get that kill across for his teammate, and at the same time was able to get the scuttle directly afterwards. Good pathing there, and Blazing taking a bit of damage as well.
Yeah, it's a good start for things, and I wonder, will it continue? As it's not the only fun bit of shenanigans around the map here. Mendrick's top lane, Kip Kangaroo and Godblitz have decided, well, one of them decided to go back home and buy some items. The other one's decided, XD, I don't need to do that because I'm on. But what I find quite interesting is Kip Kangaroo electing for a cull.
Yeah, I love the choice.
Off there. So
probably expecting to not be able to get the kill. Expecting probably not to get a kill onto Godblitz. Godblitz is playing extremely careful. Of course, has the ability, like you said, just buy items in lane as well, so can just sit back, relax, make sure to get those last hits. Whereas Kip Kangaroo, obviously wants to accelerate, get to that late game a little bit sooner. That's when we do have it really exciting. And here we go. This might be a catch up here by Hats, but I really like that choice to ward the first time they learned from their mistake. So going back to this Ornn Fiora matchup, you understand that, hey, look, I'm not expecting to get any kills anytime soon because of how careful Godblitz is going to be playing. I might as well just take advantage of that, get the cull, slingshot myself to my late game a little bit sooner.
Yeah, and that's kind of the goal, right, for Mansfield in their composition. All of their laners need time. Fiora is great in the late game, but you need to give her the time in the side lane. Orianna is a brilliant mid to late game teamfight champion, but she needs to get there. And the Vayne, I mean, we've all versed a good Vayne at some point here. As
look at this damage.
Blazing is just going to die. The Ignite is down, but I'm not sure they're going to get the turnaround there, but actually will pick the turnaround kill there. But still, the trading here, and Blazing and Shiloh are handshaking trades against the early game Jhin. I'm perplexed.
Well, again, part of it was because they managed to get the stun into the wall there, so they thought they could take advantage of that. Of course, they went a little bit too far, and it was going to be a trade 1-for-1, but overall, when you look at that, that is a definitely advantage for Snow Blue. Not only did he manage to get the kill, but then the shove into tower, so he's obviously going to get the extra experience, the extra gold off the back of that as well. So in this case, I imagine they're pretty happy to be trading that out, because of course, when that initial power spike happens for Jin, it's just going to hit so much harder than that Vayne is. Vayne typically needs to have that 3 items to really start being online, really start pumping it out. Jin, on the other hand, once he manages to get at least one item under that belt, happens to have some extra, I guess you could say, power behind each single shot.
Yeah, and already with the early Swifties as well. So standard here is, oh my lord, Shockwave being forced out of closes there vis-a-vis the damage and harassment.
Good
that
catch.
Botany is forcing as, oh, they slam him into the wall there, but will they have to follow through damage? It looks like they might, but they're getting quite low. The Mega Inferno Bomb, not even needed to pick up the kill there. And again, Blazing and Shilo are taking fights when they are just not strong enough to force the play.
Yeah, you can tell like they're trying to take advantage of it and say, hey, you know what, this should be a free trade. We were the ones that landed the Q, then into the wall. Basically, everything should be going our way there. But the big thing here is that they still just don't have enough pepper behind those attacks. That does mean, of course, that there is going to be a return trade. And now it looks like it's going to be Blazing sent back to that fountain once again. And they had such a fantastic start here. It was really dire that needed us. Just imagine if they didn't have that early kill lead against them. This could be a completely different bottom lane.
Very different here, but you know, even with the advantages they did get themselves, it has been a rough adventure for Blazing and Shilo here.
Oh,
it's not letting.
I think I really like that. Honestly, that's some mind games there. Goblins is like, hey, you want to stop me from crafting? You want to stop me from crafting? You have to do something here. And Kipkinger is like, all right, fine, I'll do it. And as soon as he does like look in to make that stop happen, follows through with, of course, the his flames and then the brittle, and basically does some extra damage onto it. But of course, both of these guys are fantastic to stay, and Kipkinger is already back up, so I guess it's not really going to matter.
Well, still being shoved on the top, but he does have backup. Obviously, Obsess is on the top half of the map here, but I'm not so sure it's going to net anything. Goblets with the spellbook, which does make sense given the matchup. I feel like his selection of Summoner Spell to Clarity says he's not too interested in picking a fight. I have not seen Clarity used in the longest of times, man.
Yeah, he's just swapping them out to get the extra cooldown reduction, the benefit of that particular one there. As you can see, that these guys just so aggressive when they happen to run in, understanding now they've managed to wrest the control back into the lane, especially with all that extra CS, the extra kill and assist that's been given to Snow Blue. So it's going to be stuff along those lines there as well as time goes on. As you can see, they really are beginning to continue just to push them out, shove them out. You can see no real completed item yet for Blazing Spirit in this bottom lane, which really needs to happen as soon as possible, because that's when it's going to be the first meaningful power spike that should allow them to remain safe in lane. Well, Danny getting caught though. Yeah,
right now it's just harassment coming out. Danny taking low short, but Blazing Spirit, I think, realizes he doesn't really want to fight this because you just don't win it, as you will trade the supports. But the TP coming through here. Blazing Spirit, the only reason he can take this fight is because of the backup of TP coming through, but it's a bit too late now.
Oh, the dodge!
No! It was a fancy bit of footwork, but it didn't matter much as more TPs come through on the back end of it. But the top laners have fun to put their war. Closer is just getting bullied by Goblets, who's just going to run him down.
Gets it.
And Dilma didn't die in the back end of that as well. So Kip Kangaroo is in a little bit of trouble. Slow comes through.
God,
one more bonk from the Ornn, but not able to land the damage just yet.
Oh,
there is reinforcements as Dilma gets the kill, and Hax is actually here to hang out. Yeah, just hang out.
Far out. Everything said and done there. Once again, you do see Botany Down's cam out on top. Again, they're so good when it comes to just bringing their members down. 2 TPs just used off the bat, ready to completely leave their lanes. Who cares about that advantage? We need to win a team fight, and then manage to pull it off the back again. And again, it was off the fact that it was a decent initiation as well for Mansfield. They had the right of way to actually make that engage happen, but of course, just the good play from Snow Blue, just understanding how Jin works and operates, how much damage can be put out, was able to get that return in once again. But that is going to be an extra 2 kills to Blazing Spirit, which is damn important, because that is the first completed item underneath the belt. The Immortal Shield Bell is ready to run.
Yeah, and as a player who got first, oh, hold up, Shilo's taking a ton of damage, and the ultimate coming out here from Snow will not net anything more than that, but the very fact that the Blazing Spirit, you know, who was involved in the first death of this game is the one to get that shield bow first is a brilliant sign of life as a beautiful riposte comes through here. Kip Kangaroo is going to get damaged down, but it could merely be a bait. The knockup doesn't land. Goblins is like, come on, keep hitting me. I want you to do it because I got backup. But without the Bill's Breath landing, this could actually be a bit of a disaster. The knockup comes through. Cataclysm locks Kip Kangaroo in place, and Kip Kangaroo trying to fend off the best that he can here. Does have the ultimate down, but Obsess is able to complete the challenge.
But you can really see the damage that Kip Kangaroo has there, right? Hasn't even completed an item. Omus is able to actually 2v1 both of them at the same time. Could possibly have played that just out a little bit better. Part of the reason why they were so happy to continue that engage is, of course, Goblins is saying, hey, the riposte is down, come in. We've still got about 20 seconds before she can use it. You can easily jump in, use your EQ combination with, of course, your ultimate, and we should be able to clean this up. So a very good job there by Botany Downs to identify that specific interaction in between these two bot lane, or sort of the bot lanes between the top lane there, and of course get some extra advantages where they can.
Yeah, well, speaking of getting advantages, Dilma does not land the ultimate, courtesy of the Trundle Flash, and so nothing more coming from that one there, but still the aggression coming out here from Botany Downs. I love to see it, and it's what you need to see, Mendrix, because with the Jhin early game, with the, the Jarvan early game needing to go well here for Botany. They got to keep this, they got to build this lead for more than 2k. I'm talking 3, I'm talking 5k gold is what you need as Obsess. Not sure that's the play, Captain.
Looking to see again, obviously land something there. He's going to have to, but
close. What is going on? Pillar coming out there, and that was just weird from Botany. I'm not fully sure what the game plan is between these two. Is it just to drop early heralds?
No, they're like, I think so, that's the case. They just want to actually get control of it, force closer out. That should allow them to drop the Herald and gain control of mid. Mid tower going down is always a big pickup here in terms of strategic plays. Allows you, again, opens up the Dragon, opens up the Baron, opens up the access to, obviously, the red and blue buffs. Nice catch there as well, but it looks like it's going to be going to the bot lane.
Yeah, Herald's going to be committed here. I don't know if they're going to be able to commit to a dive. Blazing Spirit Shield Bow.
It should take out most of the damage here.
Too much turret, but yeah, they'll get most of the turret. Hell, a couple more hits will actually get the turret down, and it isn't a mid turret, but it's here bot one is pretty good.
That's sad. You're kind of hoping there at that point, you know, the Tormented Soil would have landed, because that might have been enough to actually drop Danny down to a killable purpose there. Or killable spot, to be honest.
Yeah, close, but unfortunately, Danny did have the backup of full HP Snow as well, so if you wanted to commit to the support, you had to play the 50-50 game of dying to the Jhin. So I'm not so sure that would be the play, and I do quite like that they were erring on the side of caution there, Mendrix. As another quick look down the itemization wheelhouse, and while some things are forever the same, such as, you know, the Gale Force, the Shield Bow, the Divine Sunderer coming through, the interesting thing for me is actually what Shiloh is picking up on this Morgana. Not rushing the early Zhonya's Hourglass, which I know some Morganas love to do.
Yep.
Not rushing, seemingly, for their Shirelia's Battle Song, but instead that looks like the itemization of an Everfrost.
Definitely an interesting choice as well. I mean, looking for a little bit of extra oomph in that power, especially in a team that's not really lacking that damage, to be perfectly honest. So obviously just looking to get some control in the bot lane. Perhaps that was the itemization choice that Shiloh sort of, you know, dealt to when they had the early advantage in the lane, and then over time has slowly lost out of it. And because it had committed, is now sort of at a little bit of a loss because it's so. I would obviously prefer a little, like you said, a bit more of the you know, building towards the battle song, building towards the either the Zhonya's Hourglass as well, just purely because of the impact it can bring to team fights in the game. I guess, you know, sacrificing laning power and it just not going the way they wanted to, or sacrificing that that mid-game, late-game utility for that early laning power.
Yeah, oh my lord. That was like 2 hits from Snow. And oh my, you can't dodge all this Spirit. One more hit will likely take him down, but not able to get through there. Shiloh does a brilliant job body blocking, but with everything in the kitchen sink being thrown forwards, the turret is unlikely to do that. Shockwave doesn't close it. This could be the opening, as they will lose Snow at the start of the fight. Their hats, though, does a good job at Obsess in multi-man Cataclysm. Their closer and Blazing, though, still alive. TP finally coming through, but I'm not sure it's going to matter. Dilma has double buffs, though. Blazing Spirit gets nuked! gets utterly nuked, but I don't think they see Kip Kangaroo somehow. He sneaked into the back line there and will be able to start cutting down Blitz to sides. Blitz, though, a chunky boy up in that top lane, will not go down easily, but what a series of plays.
Oh, that was just an amazing shockwave out of closer. That was what really ignited the fire, which allowed there to be a competitive performance of Mansfield against Botany. Botany really were beginning to push this game a little bit out of control. I mean, they've managed to pick up a gold lead. They've got the 2 dragons. They've been collecting all of the Shellies throughout time as it's gone on. But closer, with that fantastic shockwave, was able to bring them, basically catch Botany Downs and basically pull their pants down in essence for that team fight and allow them to then take it pretty effectively. Of course, again, the extra power, the ability of that micro play coming through from Botany Downs allowed them to sort of play through that scenario pretty damn effectively. But of course, overall, when it's said and done, that is something that shouldn't have been as competitive for that shouldn't have been competitive for Mansfield, but it ended up being so because, again, that shockwave was just damn beautiful.
Yeah, the flash in, honestly, that reminds me, I don't know if anyone, I feel like I'm appealing to the wrong audience when I say this. Season 3 World Final by Fnatic, the flank from that team. I don't know if anyone remembers that play there. But if you know the play, you know exactly what I'm talking about. With the flash in over the wall with closers, Oriana doing it damn well in this situation. But for all things that go right, things must go wrong. And I mean, that definitely
went right for Botany Down. So that's everything that you want to do. Just lock him down. Look for the kill there. Hats is trying to get Danny, but I don't think he understands how much support is actually available for him.
Yeah, I don't think they realize Goblins is down here as well. Sure, that leaves Kit Kangaroo time to split push, but if you're losing members, the split push isn't worthwhile. As 3 members in total, 2 in that last recent skirmish, lose their lives. And while this is happening, sure, Kip Kangaroo is getting the split push going, but they're not even going to get a turret from the push.
Yeah, a lot of that really comes down to the fact here, again, they were able to actually get that pick onto Blazing Spirit. They had all their resources ready to go and just made quick snap decision plays. And you can see there was a bit of a fluster coming across from Mansfield. Didn't really know how they were going to play that out, and they ended up folding under the pressure. Now they're at Dragon Point. That's going to be a real rough thing to go through because with 2 minutes on that next dragon, for the Baron to come up, that means now they're going to have to make some really meaningful decisions. And really, all of the options now seem to be a smorgasbord for Botany Downs.
Yeah, and they are now in, I'm not going to say an unstoppable position because they are only 2,000 gold vendors. They have not really had the same...
3 dragons.
Yeah, I was going to say, the gold difference doesn't say it because they are still stoppable, but the 3 dragons makes it just a little bit more difficult here. And not just the dragons, but look at the itemization coming through here. And specifically, we have to talk about it, the bottom lane itemization. The fact that Snow already has the collector in their back pocket while Blazing, for all of the things they have played, not to say that they haven't played well, it's just the matchup is so difficult for them to play with just the champions that they've elected to go for.
Absolutely. See, the thing is, like, Vayne's fantastic at moving around the map, obviously controlling things down, but on the flip side of things, Snow Blue's Jin's probably the excellent pick for it because you can just do so much damage in such a short amount of time. It doesn't matter. And Hat's not meant for this world.
Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate there for Hats. He tried his best. He was the right idea in that he was in the position to try and defend the top half of the map. Just try and save his top laner. Unfortunately, Kip will likely get out of here alive, but they've lost again just so much.
And Botany Downs are so good at really pushing that litter as well. Every single kill has a meaning, right? They're looking to get, okay, I'm going to get Hats. That opens up, of course, what's going to be the top turret. There's going to be extra gold in the back pocket for everyone else. Not only that, it's also crucially Baron control as well. Now, as you can see, completely warded up around the map there. They are going for a bit of a ring around the rosy when it comes to chasing Kit Kangaroo, but as you can see, it wasn't a massive commitment coming across from Botany Downs. They obviously still had a number of their members doing things, backing away, putting themselves back in position, and of course, this is, again, just to get themselves back in control, back into position, and start setting up for this drag in the next 2 minutes here, because they're all about maintaining control, Botany Downs, and they're doing a fantastic job about it. They did it in the last series as well. Their warding just seemed damn near immaculate. And when you're going up against a team that has the ability to have this much map control, this much pressure, and at the same time the correct macro decisions, it is just absolutely a tough ask to actually come out on top against them.
Yeah. But okay, Mendrix, let's press a reset button for a moment.
Okay,
Okay, are you ready for the reset?
I'm ready.
Now, Mansfield State aren't in a great position. Now, obviously, Dragon number 4, they don't have a choice. They have to contest it one way or the other. It's an Infernal Soul. You don't not contest an Infernal Soul. So, how do they then approach a fight where they are, I'm going to say, far from favored in order to actually win, take the fight and win the fight?
So they do have the right lane assignments at the moment. You can see they're just trying to keep things manned and under control, but of course, there's continuing to bleed out objectives pretty much across the board here. As you can see, Kip Kangaroos are on that top side. I don't like this back from Kip Kangaroo. I would love if Kip Kangaroo was just there, just continue to push out, perhaps looking for solo, because you really need to push on the fact that you've managed to pick up a bit of a CS lead advantage. You've had some opportunity to get a bit of extra gold underneath your belt because you've been split pushing, and really just stamp your control as the Grand Duelist. Because if you don't actually open up pressure, this is what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, fight lighting up there, and Hats dropped in the blink of an eye right now. And with Hats dying, the timing couldn't be worse right now here, Mendrix, because well, look at the timer. 40-something seconds till Dragon, and Hats is going to be alive for 20 seconds after the Dragon spawns. Oh, wait. Never mind. Botany Down's doing their typical 20-minute Baron.
Yeah, pretty much. Again, they had that Baron control set up from about 4 minutes earlier. As you can see now, it's just a matter of, hey, got our lanes pushed out, done a lot of due diligence, their jungler is dead. This is such an easy Baron take. As you can see, they're going for it here in this sense. I think they do know. I think they've just decided, you know what, let's just give them Baron, and we'll just look to make sure that they can't get the Infernal Drake. Make them, try to spread them, thin at this point. You're trading objectives. That seems to be the goal here. They've managed to get themselves in a good position. They've managed to clear away the wards. This could be a denial of the Dragon Soul, but of course, Botany Downs is coming in.
They've been smelled out, though. Closer, no! Closer didn't flash the Deadly Flourish. It goes down as Hats on the front line. Tries to buy a bit of time, but Call the Forge God divides the team. Obsessed dies in the back line, capturing Spirit. The rest of the team not dealing the damage out to the vein just yet. Finally diving onto that one, and this is devastation on the back line here. Mansfield, it looked good for a while. They were set up, but unfortunately, being set up in the right position doesn't nullify the disadvantage that you did have to fight.
And again, I really just want to stress how much I would have preferred if Kip Kangaroo just remained in that top lane. If Kip Kangaroo was there, just continue to push out that pressure. Yes, it's a bit risky. Yes, it's something you might have to worry about dying, but it buys time for the rest of your team to get control somewhere else. Instead, Kip Kangaroo backed away. There was no control anywhere else around the map. That meant that as soon as Hats went down, they were able to jump in, take the Baron, and just snowball off that directly time and time again. And beforehand, we were talking about, hey, how are they going to find a way to get themselves back into it? Now it's just straight up wait for your opponent to make a mistake. And that is the worst position to be in when you are playing League of Legends. You never want to be in a position where you're looking or hoping for a mistake for you to capitalize on.
Yeah, because all it takes then is a smart opposition team to be like, hey, just don't, because I'm sorry, but don't be dumb. Just think about where you're positioning. Think about where the enemy team is going to be. We have Baron, push the waves, and well, that's all they need to do in this situation, as we are seeing Hats. Oh, he's trying to keep his top half of the map safe. Unfortunately, his top half of the map isn't his anymore.
Yep, and we have the curtain call as well.
Yeah, not coming through here. Kip Kangaroo's just gonna... Oh, beautiful riposte there. Close is almost dead, though. Gets CC'd up for the bomb. Even Obsessed wasn't needed in that one there, but actually tanking turret, though. Stopwatch. They've got to back out of here. While all this is happening, by the way, Blazing and God are on the side lane here. I'm not sure this is a favorable matchup for the Ornn, though. Two levels, yes.
He's doing alright, though. He's getting away. He can turn this around.
He can't run from a vein.
He just needs to land a combo.
Like, you can't run from a vein, though. Like, her
he just did it in real time in front of us.
Nah, I can't run from a vein, dude. But Vayne's passive is OP, dude. Oh, no! What?
Damage. That damage is disgusting.
That's a lot of damage! Double TP! Double TP, they're going for the end here, Mendrix, and hell, I don't blame them in this situation, as they are in an unstoppable position here. 22 kills, 4 dragons, 10,000 gold in the favor of Botany Downs and Mansfield. For all the advantages coming into the series, they just weren't ready for final fight, but Blazing is the lead in half a second. The rest of the team will join them, and the Nexus will join the rest of the team down 6 feet under.
Yeah, pretty impressive play from the entire team. I'm looking at that KDA and it's looking pretty damn mean. So the performance from this whole team was so good off the back of this there. It's going to be very hard to actually decide who's going to be the MVP on that one, but we're still tallying the votes up just to make sure it's all good. And oh my god, what a way to actually take out that win. Everything really did seem to be off the back of those skirmishes leading to effective plays afterwards. There wasn't any real team fights that could really put my foot on to say, hey, this is where was the point or the point in time that Botany Downs was able to take full control of the game and then just take it from the win. It was literally pick into objective, bit of a skirmish, really, but not a main team fight because, hey, you don't have your full team there. Everyone's walking in as dominoes directly afterwards. So pretty hard in that sense of it.
Yeah, well, we do have the results, Mendrix. The MVP is going to be the AD carry player here, Snow on the Jin. And I mean, just in terms of damage numbers, it does make sense. Hell, the fact that you're out damaging a Ziggs by about 4,000 damage in a game is pretty telling to how much impact the Jin had coming into our first match today.
Absolutely. Both of them are pokey champions, but if you have to say who's the pokier of the two, you think it's going to be the Ziggs, but that just shows you again how good Snow Blue really is at this point in time. Snow actually has been just performing phenomenally throughout the entire series today as well. Every time that I do look at Snow Blue's damage, it happens to be top tier. So Botany Downs again, and another thing I just want to note as well, because we haven't completed all the games just yet today, out of all the games that's played, there's been a separate MVP for Botany Downs every single time. So it just goes to show you how good this team is as a collective unit, not just as individuals.
And that's kind of what is giving them that advantage, right, over the opponents they've had today against LSL and even now against the likes of Mansfield, where Mansfield, it looked like a team, right? Like obviously we saw the grouping, but I want to specifically look at the composition that they put together and specifically be more aiming. I'm aiming at the top line. The Fiora felt off. And when I say felt off, I mean the Fiora did not feel like it was played like a Fiora. Fiora specializes, she excels in the side lane, split pushing, basically ignoring her team. And if you can make that style work, it works brilliantly. I say this as someone who did that for 4 years. But the problem with that is when you bring Fiora into a team fight, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting in that sense. And again, like I said, they were sort of just backing at the wrong points in time. You really need that Fiora to be just pushing out pressure throughout the entire game in a side lane. That begins to make things like those grouping positions that were being made by Botany Down so much harder. So again, that idea of just really picking your lane assignments when you do pick a particular champion, how it's going to operate and do stuff. A lot of it really does come down to everyone really understanding what their role is going to be and then following up afterwards.
Exactly. So it was particularly well played there, Mendrix. Of course, game number 2 is right around the corner, and the question will have to boil down to, will the likes of Mansfield be able to bounce back from this situation? Will they be able to recover and take a game off of Botany Downs secondary college? Or will Botany Downs just continue their unstoppable streak here? They have only shown really, well, one sign of mortality coming into the championship run. Of course, that was when this team ran into the Panda Republic Kings Grove North. Was the team that handed them their biggest L. So the fact that this team looks basically unstoppable is really alarming. But obviously, there is a second game waiting in the wing, guys. Do not go anywhere. As our second game of, actually, I think we might just get straight into it. Honestly,
To be honest, I think they're ready. I think they're ready.
So there's no need to go to any sort of a break, guys, as we were just diving head first into game number 2 here, Mendrix. And adaptation is the heart and soul of a best of series. So obviously the question then becomes, if you are Mansfield looking at this game, thinking after what was a pretty rough beating, what do you change and why is it the Vayne?
Hey, the Vayne wasn't a bad pick, remember? It was a counter pick coming into the Ziggs. It was to essentially force let Ziggs to not be in the bot lane, force it to another side. I think it's just very hard for them to actually come up with a specific way to actually counter the Ziggs pick here, other than them just banning it right out. I think that's the specific key that they need to do here. Of course, now that we are jumping back into it again, we expect that Fiddlesticks to be taken off the board purely because, again, there is, Hats just loves to play it and it just forces him onto a champion that he's not too comfortable on.
So that, again, if it's someone who's super comfortable on it, why wouldn't you get rid of it there? Honestly, the Fiddlesticks is unconventional, and sometimes I think to myself that maining an unconventional champion isn't itself necessarily a bad thing. Because
absolutely not, because it completely changes the way the team needs to play on the other side, right? Let's just take into account how good Botany Downs is at actually forcing out, for example, in particular, putting control on neutral objectives. These guys basically are dragon taking machines, love to look for those early 20-minute barons if possible. All of that comes to a halt because there's a Fiddlesticks on the map, right? That's something that's a big key here we need to take into account. The fact that Fiddlesticks can literally just jump in and completely stop a Baron or something from happening from that ultimate, from that Growstone, is something that's really big and needs to be taken into account here. So by removing that unconventional champion from the context, changes things up a little bit, and boom, Ziggs first pick. Oh, that's what I love to see. Feeling really good right now.
Yeah, Dilma says thank you very much. I'll be taking that one back for myself. Because I don't know, again, I don't know if Snow plays it. I don't think Snow needs to show if he plays it. Because Dilma has done a phenomenal job on the Ziggs here. And now, Hats, do you play Jarvan? If so, take it now. Instead, they elect for the Diana, and I would expect you to just grab the Jarvan here.
Yeah.
And probably just grab yourself a top laner into the Malphite. You already know that Kit Kangaroo is now playing for the team instead of playing for himself up in the top lane there. So we'll find it out.
And that would be a fantastic pick as well. I really do like the Shen as a follow-up here. Yeah, to be honest, even the Trundle in the top lane would be good as well. It could obviously be held by Obsess in the jungle as well, so it can be flexed in this scenario. But I would love for them just to continue the Jarvan hype train and then flex that Trundle to the top side because, of course, Malphite looking to get as tanky as possible, has the ability to slow you down. Trundle is ideally a auto attacker, but he's got the kit and the tools to actually slow down the Malphite using the pillar. If he tries to escape, he has the ability to speed himself up after the fact. That's a catch-up mechanic as well. And again, even if Malphite is able to slow down the auto attacks, there's no way that he's going to slow down the health ceiling and, of course, the ability for him to actually make him less tanky and the fact that he's got that ultimate in hand as well. So Trundle will be extremely well matched into Malphite. Of course, they still have an option to just keep that Trundle in the jungle. Doesn't really matter. Can remain there as well and look for a better counter pick if they've got one available in their arsenal.
Well, while the composition of Botany is interesting, Mendrix, sometimes the simpler things in life are just better in every capacity. Like a sandwich could just be ham and cheese instead of ham and cheese and all the other things thrown into that. Well, I think that's
or a sandwich that doesn't have a completed bread top.
In hindsight, I should have seen that coming.
That's an inside joke. Don't worry, guys.
I don't want people to know how I eat sandwiches, all right, Medrix? That doesn't need to be coming out on public broadcast. But what I wanted to try and make that comparison was Mansfield's composition isn't fancy. It isn't technical. It is simple. Diana and Malphite press R, Yasuo presses R, Botany Downs dies.
It's a blender. I do like my blender comps, I must admit. Very easy initiation for this Yasuo, of course, off the back of the Malphite ultimate. Hell, even Diana technically displaces as well. So technically there's two options for the Yasuo to jump on if he wants to. You can continue to follow the trend and get more knockups as well if that's really how you want to play this out. So there's definitely the cases that, other cases that you could work for here. What I'm worried about here, though, is, of course, how good the skirmish and lane roaming potential that is available from Botany. We've seen how good it is. You could be giving up a lot of laning power for the fact that you're looking for, I guess you could say, that late game power instead of it. Based off that Yasuo pick, I'd be pretty confident with the Ziggs going into the bot lane.
Yeah. But that, of course, does Snow play it? Because in the bottom lane, the blender continues with Samira. So this is an all-in, no wave clear comp from Mansfield. This thing is going to win or lose in 15 minutes.
Morgana to finish it off? This is literally a press R team composition.
Yeah.
Who else has a pretty good Leona?
I think Leona will be a pretty good
Leona's
one
be pretty
here.
good. Nautilus. Nautilus will close this out pretty well.
Nautilus,
I feel Leona's better though. Leona's definitely better.
Yeah, I'd definitely say the Leona would be pretty good here. The Lucian, I do quite like defensive. It's no Ezreal, but obviously Snow's probably a bit more
MF
comfortable
support
on the Lucian. Misfortune support, get out.
Yeah.
That's only if Danny picks Zyra. That's the only place I ever am going to willingly allow a
Zyra's a good pick
Misfortune
too,
support
actually.
to come in as Cho'Gath coming through here. So that is likely to be Cho'Gath. Shit, never mind. I got so excited. I love me a Chonkath, but instead it will be Shen.
Yeah,
in the
that's
top
great.
lane.
I didn't even think
Oh,
about the
Seraphine. Oh man,
that's really good. I like it. It's. I mean, look. Again, Leona. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so the team comps good. Nautilus. They give some pick, right? You know what? They've got a lot of initiation. Right? They've got a lot of like damage with the R's. Let's just put that out there. They've got a lot of AoE damage with R. What they're missing is essentially pick, right? Something that really starts it up. Malphite can definitely start off with his R, but the thing is that typically you want to slow them down to position that Malphite. You want to be saving that Malphite ultimate to land at least 3 members plus. The best way to sort of isolate that and get them clumped up in that position is, of course, to pick out one person, and you can do that with the Nautilus. Nautilus allows you with the hook to sort of create an opportunity for this R blender to happen. So I like the choice to actually default to the Nautilus in this case.
Yeah, exactly. So it would be quite fun to see. Again, the Mansfield's composition really worries me because it is like the picture definition of if they don't snowball, they're done. Like there is no. Imagine this team being sieged 5k down against a Baron. Like, how do you survive that? You've got no wave clear. All you have is engage.
Midnight, don't ask questions that you know the answer is that you just die. Okay, like that's literally. It's like. So what do they do here? You die. But what if you die? But no. Like here's a scenario. This is the case. Look, you're dead. You died 10 minutes ago. You should have just dealt with that factor. Okay. Some points in time, you just have to let it go. The person is gone. All right. And that's literally the case here. They cannot fall behind because, again, if they do, they won't have the ability to force those initiations. And there is plenty of protection here as well. We have to take that into account. There's going to be the Shen ultimate and the Karma shield and the movement speed. And plus, you need to get onto these members who definitely are quite slippery. The Ziggs, surprisingly mobile, has the ability to use that satchel charge to get away. Lucian, of course, extremely slippery, especially if you are placing out your abilities to really improve that relentless pursuit and obviously take advantage of the double tap, reducing the cooldown on that E. So there's all these little things that you can do to speed things up, especially with the Karma as well. We're adding a little bit of movement speed and go. I'm expecting it to be a battle song pickup here for Danny. There's no way that you want to get picked up by this team. And obviously the idea of the game is to avoid all of the initiation available for Mansfield.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a limit to how much you can avoid, Mandrix. I think it's fair to say that maybe you can dodge them out in a team fight. You can maybe dodge them out fight because you flash. And maybe you can avoid the Diana engage because, Ziggs and Lucian are rather mobile.
Positioning, Midnight. Positioning.
How do you dodge the Nautilus R?
Positioning, Midnight.
Positioning. How do you dodge something that is literally undodgeable? By stopwatches. And I mean,
yes.
Lucian builds Zonyas to avoid the knockup from the
Nautilus. Just imagining the choice of having to like rebuy stopwatches over again. You don't want to. I mean, it could actually be value considering it. Like, if you're able to win every team fight because you've been buying a stopwatch, technically speaking, you've got the goal to buy another stopwatch.
Technically speaking, yes, but I fear you're forgetting, Mendrix, is that stopwatches are one-time uses.
True.
So that's where Snow would build it into a Zhonya's to avoid the knockup.
But can't you just sell it and rebuy another stopwatch?
But if you use the stopwatch, it's broken.
But then you sell the broken stopwatch and you buy a new one.
Unfortunately, this isn't real life, Mendrix. This is a video game.
Okay, true.
Which I'm afraid to say is how it is. And normally,
why can't I just buy another stopwatch, man? Like,
I mean, you can. It's just not gonna save you in that situation.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, this composition coming in from Mansfield, it might be able to save them. It's got engage, it's got snowball, it hasn't got wave clear. But if you're diving, you don't need wave clear, guys. So obviously, A ballsy composition from Mansfield, putting everything on the line. Will it pay off? Let's find out. Game number 2 will be kicking off in just a minute. Game number 2 is about to kick off here, ladies and gentlemen. The final fight potentially here at Meta HSE, where we have Mansfield State High School, our Queensland representative, making its final push towards game number 2. If they win this game, they go to game 3. They have a chance to make that next step forwards. But so far, Botany Downs has looked unstoppable coming into this series so far. They wiped De La Salle off the map, and Mansfield, they're hanging on by their fingernails with an all-in style composition that will sink or swim.
Yeah, looking very hot off the back here, Botany Downs here. This finally could be the composition that could possibly put them together. You can see they are looking to have a bit of fun with it as well, being a 5-man unit, looking for the early invaders. This is the first time we've seen it in the series today as well. Let's see if they can find a catch, because of course that Nautilus is going to be there, but as you can see, the wards have gone down. They went fishing, but all they really caught was a cold.
Yeah, unfortunate there, but it was worth a look. You need to try and get something in the early game, and yeah, what do you lose by trying? Not really a whole lot. The enemy don't know where the enemy your jungler is starting, but they might have a pretty good idea that it will be a bot side start for the Diana. Obviously, Obsess on the Trundle. Oh, never mind, it's a top side start from Diana. Ignore me. Both junglers are going to start on the top half of the method. I was completely baited.
Yeah, I would expect that to be the case here. Diana typically does like to look for that AoE clear, so that's why we just start on the top side. Expect her to really go straight to the Raptors there, possibly make the move down towards the blue afterwards. It's definitely also viable to actually make a move towards the Krugs, then possibly getting top. So a number of options available there. Typically, the Trundle wants to stop on that top side, or around especially when blue wants to start on that top side, or basically where the blue is, purely because that single target DPS is where he excels, and that means they'd be able to open up and get a quick clear across the board. So that normally means that from there we'll push down towards either the red buff, and then from there look for a gank, or perhaps go for Scuttle, one of the two scenarios.
Yeah, well, obviously we'll keep a good track on these junglers. As the other thing I think could be exciting is the bottom lane, but it's just Danny on the Diana. Not on the Diana, sorry, on the Karma, just doing the typical ranged versus melee matchup, getting the harassment down, using Lucian's dominant early game performance to do well. And it's been a while since I've seen Lucian, honestly.
Yeah.
This champion, the change, courtesy of the Vigilance, the new passive where he basically needs to be near an ally to do extra damage, has sort of taken Lucian out of the mid lane where he was one of, if not the most dominant laners in the game. And now, I mean, I think it's a good return to form.
Yeah, it is definitely the way to go because typically he found a home as a solo laner, and in places, there were points where he was very hard to balance in those lanes purely because if he was either A, underpowered or B, overpowered. Definitely had one of those scales that if you put a little bit too much on one side, he basically was just very quickly moving in one or the other direction. There wasn't really a nice spot in between where he just felt strong as a way for it. By basically saying, you know what, you're down for it as well. Whoa!
Oh!
Was not expecting that by Kip. Must admit.
That shouldn't be happening. Normally, if there's a solo kill, it's in favor of the Shen. Because the Shen has that percentage health damage, but no. Kip Kangaroo. He may not be on a Fiora, but he's still doing damage.
And immediately off the back wall, of course, just buy some extra health gems as well. Of course, does have that grasp of the Undying build, which does means it's going to just continue to benefit from that extra damage. But as you can see, he's teleporting back in. Obsess is already ready to actually jump on this as well. And this might be a return kill directly afterwards. We have to see how it plays out. But Godblitz is very low already.
Yeah, but he has it back up from Obsess, and Kip Kangaroo doesn't have the damage to deal with the Trundle, especially when getting CC'd up like this. Doesn't have flash, doesn't really have a way to get out of his one, and will go down. The kill being given over to Obsess, I think, is absolutely the right call. Godblitz will suffer from a lack of gold, but you need to get impact around the map. And speaking of that, Hats coming in here, engaging onto Danny, but immediate TP, and Hats almost dying on the back end of that, but Dilma's TP, I would think, is a bit preemptive, but I like the decision-making that resulted in the action.
Again, these guys are ready to rumble into team fights every chance they get. Like, Botany is down to fight. Let's be completely honest in that sense of it. And these guys, every single chance they get an opportunity for it, if there's going to be a three-man dive or some other thing along those lines, they take it. And Shiloh taking a bit of damage for that engage there. I love the poke damage that comes through from both Snowblue and Danny. Such a powerful bot lane.
And that particular hook was just so unnecessary. There was no follow-up from Blaze. Blaze didn't really look interested in getting into any form of a scrap there. So the fact that Shiloh is looking for a fight when his AD carry is literally too far away to auto-attack is a little alarming.
Oh, I love this, right? So it seems like they're backing there and thought maybe, hey, we could possibly look to make these guys back here instead. And they might be able to, follow through. They're now waiting 8 seconds. As you can see, their backs happen. They now reappear. And now they're able to get a little bit of extra tempo here because they're going to push this into lane. Does mean it's not going to reset. It's definitely going to be pushing back in their favor. They've managed to eke out a little bit more experience, a little bit of extra gold, and they're going to use that solidification beforehand. And all of it comes off the back of them saying, hey, let's do a hard shove. They're going to think we backed because obviously we're going to be, not inside, not going to be in lane. And they took that bait, hook, line, and sinker.
And it's very clever because that's just playing on tendencies that is so standard. Normally, that is exactly what you do. You hard shove the wave in, make sure it crashes, and get the hell out of there. And Blazing Spirit and Shiloh, I mean, yeah, they fell for it, but that's standard. Everyone does it that way. So it's very clever to play on standard tendencies in this particular series here. So a good call from them there. A little bit of smart decision, and we'll see if that pans itself out, as the item difference is already telling. A Noon Quiver to a Vamp Scepter is what that little shenanigans gave in favor of Botany Downs' bot lane. And this game is a little bit more passive, this Mandrix, than I was kind of hoping for. I was hoping for a bit of a bloodbath with the aggressive comp that Mansfield had drafted.
Well, their aggressiveness really does come to light when the team fights start to break out here. So it's really going to be in the interest of Botany Downs to elongate this laning phase as long as possible. Probably put a lot more focus on neutral objectives such as Shelly, such as the Dragon, and perhaps look for other places across here. As you can see here, they've tried to push in, but they might have actually went a bit too far.
Yeah, Blazing's going to get caught out here. The Pillar does a good job there. The Mega Photobomb coming in as well, gets some nice damage down. But a bit of split focus. Too much damage went into Shiloh. If there was a hard focus onto Spirit, I think they might have been able to kill the Samira, but instead, a bit of split focus results in both members getting out alive.
Yeah, as you can see, it was a concentrated attack in the sense that everyone was using their abilities in that sense there, but like you said, it wasn't a concentrated attack in terms of which was going to be the target. And unfortunately for them, they expend a few resources, they end up losing a wave into the tower in the process. Yes, they get the Dragon off the back of this, and they're thinking about a dive here, but I would not go for a dive against a Nautilus that has Aftershock, no chance.
He just wants to start fighting.
Yeah, that's for sure what it is.
Gets the planing, gets to push the wave, and will likely just have to recall because no mana on the Lucian. Will back away. But so far, honestly, the Botany Downs lineup, it's been slow, but I think they're fine with that for now. Honestly, their composition is very much waiting for mistakes, very much waiting for Mansfield to do something, I'm going to say, a little bit crazy with their aggressive composition. And of course, as always, the dragons are being do you think this is like do you think Botany are just sort of like the antagonists in How to Train Your Dragons? Like they're not training them whatsoever. They're just putting them in the forever box.
Probably, I guess that's something that you really take into account here. I mean, maybe they just want to take as many dragons as they can. I just want to just touch on something in this mid lane here. You can see that for the first time in the series, and probably I think in terms of what we've seen them actually play, Dilma T is actually a little bit behind in that CS. It is again because Yasuo does have a relatively good time into Ziggs. That's because he's very quick to move around, can avoid all the bombs. Obviously has the ability to jump in, do like guerrilla warfare tactics, and eventually force out that. And Dilma had to be careful. Dilma did opt in to actually go for the Tear of the Goddess quite early, which is something that I really like. Of course, is saying, you know what, I'm not going to beat you now. I'm definitely looking to beat you later. Just play this safe. Basically, take that little bit of a CS deficit off the back of this, but I'll make up for it with my itemization.
Yeah. And I mean, tier on Ziggs is very standard nowadays. Honestly, I really like it. It is really beneficial for just being able to spam out those bombs in the mid game, which is so essential as scrapping here. Cullen coming out as well, tearing Blazing apart, who dives in. The heal comes out, but the knockup, you can't get the Inferno when you're dead, as Shiloh is likely to meet the same fate as his AD carry. Dilma, though, with reinforcements in the mid lane, isn't going to come from anything, but what an attempted play there. The moment level 6 was hit from the side of Mansfield, they went for it.
That's exactly the way you play the game. You build an advantage. As soon as you find that opportunity to obviously use your abilities directly afterwards, you take it. And then with that, they were able to force out what was going to be a bad play from Mansfield. Mansfield were like, sweet, we got level 6-2, we can follow up, but you'd already been bruised. You're in a bad position there. Forcing a good flash out of Dilma there as well, which is well played there by Closer. You can really see, again, that advantage that Closer has. But yeah, end of the day, when it all comes down to it, again, this bot lane, absolutely a fantastic credit being played here. And look at this here, again, just being a little bit cheeky, possibly might be holding on to see if they can actually pick up Blazing as well on the return.
Yeah, but Shiloh is there as well. I do quite like they waited for it, but they get some nice damage. No, he's too far forwards. Does get tethered up there with some damage, though. But nice returning as the focus is split once again. Stan United comes through. TP comes through. Double TP, it should be said to say here, as the rest of the team piles in. Obsessed in the mid lane is duking it out with Closer. Closer feeling pretty good about this one, in that he will be able to get out.
Oh!
A TP, no, gets cancelled! And that will be Snow losing his life in this situation. Godblitz can't do a damn thing, but he wants to keep the fight going because there is a Ziggs.
Oh, what
nice damage output. They cannot run for safety here as they are blasted. Black Kip Kangaroo buys only time as he will get cut down, and 2 kills going over to Dilma.
And you can really see it every single time Botany Downs chooses to take an engagement. They seem to have a backup plan layered within a backup plan. Or it didn't really go our way. That's fine. Godblitz can come in, protect. That way we're able to pick up some directly afterwards. Or they continue to throw resources up. That's okay. Dilma is now able to make the roam down as well and actually benefit on top of it. And everything just seems to be going that way. What's really interesting, though, when this is all said and done, is there is still going to be a gold advantage here coming across for Mansfield. So they're still looking really good coming into this because of obviously their main powers when that team fight starts. We really are expecting Botany Downs to do a little bit more now.
Yeah, well, Botany Downs are, it's a bit of a situation that they found themselves in because, well, actually, I say that. They've also found the enemy AD carry just on their own. Chop. Because what Botany Downs has done, this is several times they've done this now, is they've rotated their bot lane to mid and their mid lane is a bot. And well, what was Snow? That's an int.
Yep, that was definitely a little bit too deep by Snow there. Really just wanted to get that kill and back off there, but ended up just putting himself into certain death, I guess. So sometimes, you know, when you do not hit the mark with your abilities, it's best just to back away.
Sometimes you hit the mark, sometimes the mark hits you. is what's happened there. As Hats loses most of his life though, and actually that could be enough to force them back away.
Yeah, I think it is. Oh, Danny doing a good job here, just playing footsie with closer.
Yeah, be careful though. Support versus a mid laner, it rarely is a fair fight.
Yes, no, absolutely.
All
all he needed to do, if he landed that, he's not Tornado, he was dead.
Oh, he was dead, straight up. But not able to land that one there. Good sidestepping, actually. Good footsies. Coming through. Did you ever play footsies as a kid? Because I just remember being kicked a lot.
I think that's generally what happens. You just try to avoid, and it's like, But yeah, I can't remember. Honestly, like I'm very very old. Midnight. I'm 31.
You don't remember footsies?
I don't remember. Unfortunately, I remember high school, but primary school is just a blur now.
I mean, you didn't play footsies in high school. You just kicked the person next to you because it was funny.
I think that's what it was.
Oh,
here we go, though.
Closer found an opening there into Danny, but the exhaust is down immediately. Damage reduction is massive. Basically nothing. Closer did nothing in that courtesy of the exhaust, and now forced to run for the hills, but he does have backup there. The knockup does not land. Good night, Snow. Flash was half a second away from being available, and now Danny is already 1 foot in the coffin. You know what? They'll help you get in with both.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. When this team really does come together, this composition they've put absolutely excels. We're happy to scrap, happy to take those extra things that you can't really hesitate with the decision making because it's just a straightforward, easy to execute composition. We land ability, we keep on fighting with it. And you can see they're beginning to get themselves some dragons. They're beginning to also get that gold lead as well. This is a completely different Mansfield team than what we were seeing from the last one. And I really like it. And now they're just being a unit. Look at this.
Yeah, you talked about the importance of fighting as a team. Finally, this is what is happening. Teamwork makes the dream work, baby. Hats almost loses his damn life for it, but getting out in one piece. And this is Mansfield fighting back tooth and nail. I don't think Botany Downs lost many dragons in the best of 3 series getting to here today, but now they've already lost one, and I'm concerned they won't even have the security to secure a second as Obsess. That's cruel.
That's a lot of damage. This is a Divine Sunder of Trundle.
Oh yeah. Oh, Closer got baited. Closer got baited. Now dodge out the tornado. Never mind, they back away.
Yeah. Basically, if they were able to like really push that there, they could have looked for the fight and make that happen. You can really see Goblets understood there was perhaps a jungler coming on through with the way of how aggressive Kip Kangaroo was there. So really well mapped out by Goblets to understand, hey, this is not how a Malphite should be acting at this point right now. And taking advantage, lands the hook.
Yeah, but lands the hook onto the Karma here. But they now have lockdown Snow, but Snow has backup from Obsess, backing away from the flash there. The Pillar, though, not ideal. Closer, though, still taking a ton of damage. 2 more orders will do it.
Oh.
The bomb comes through, but he comes in. He doesn't have a choice. Closer had to do it, or he was going to die to the Mega Inferno bomb. Unfortunately, couldn't make it worthwhile in that situation. And Mansfield divided, they fall.
When I'm looking at everything, though, as you can see, Blazing now has full reign in this mid lane. Of course, Dilmar's doing a good job to get back. And again, has been looking to actually just throw out those Inferno bombs just around the map to actually stop these towers from falling down. That's one of their big advantages of picking up this Ziggs as well. So, yeah, I do like it that they managed to actually win a team fight there and take back and do some damage to Closer. But they expended a lot of resources, a lot of lane tempo to do so. And I'm not too convinced, again, of this particular position that they're in. Still even in terms of the... still pretty damn even in terms of the gold. Still even in terms of the dragons right now. Nothing really has been too crazy. And there's a lot of standing gold here still available to be picked up on this side as well. As you can see, they're beginning to whittle away at it. And, I mean, there's still a lot of things that can happen. And now the gold leads are starting to differ as these towers drop down.
Yeah, and it's going in favor of Mansfield. And, I mean, look at this Kid Kangaroo just wailing away on Blitz here. Not able to hold on to the side wave, but on the other end, mid lane turret will fall. Dilma will just satchel charge that down, no issues. And the teams are even. Mendrix coming up to the 18-minute mark. And hell, Dragon 2 minutes away. I would normally feel very fine about Botany securing themselves a Dragon as always. But now I'm a little bit on the more worried side of things, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be there as well, because now it's really scary. This is the point when Mansfield now can really just continue to group up, have at least 4 members together. Maybe they can throw Kip Kangaroo or closer on a side lane, depending on whose TP is available. Like right now, both of them are in place. So you kind of have the choice to sort of keep closely here for the time being while we wait for Kip Kangaroo's TP and just continue to rotate them along when those big objectives come along. But again, on the other side of that, them being that four-man team with a blender of an ultimate combination, it's something that has to be played around here by Botany Downs. And as you can see, they're being careful. They are using terrain effectively, but they're still going to be relatively at risk. And it all comes down to the fact that Morphi can use that ultimate as well. So you can see they're just putting their 5 members in the river. And just by doing that, that's enough to strongman out the team here. They're saying, nah, you're not allowed to come here because you know you're going to lose that team fight unless you manage to bruise up a little bit.
Well,
but they're going for it anyway.
No, they go for the steal there. Obsess does take it away. The Mega Inferno Bomb does some nice damage on the Hats there. Hats actually going to go down to Obsess now. But dive into the backline. The backline is already gone. Snow is taken low, but Obsess is untouchable in this fight here. They've dealt the backline, but I don't think they actually had the damage to kill the tanks in this situation. Closer is looking good there. Obsess, though, doesn't give a damn. The angriest of the Troll Kings will eventually fall at the end, but the Flash does not save them. What a scrappy fight coming through with only one man standing.
Yeah, it's going to be Goblets that comes out on top, and really it all comes down to the fact that Closer just wasn't there at the initial start. You could see they realized he had actually begun to push out to try and get some control of that mid lane. Then directly afterwards, that was the moment that Botany Downs chose to strike. Obsessed ran in, absolutely no hesitation. Dilma drops the ultimate, manages to really bruise them up, then enters close directly afterwards, but the damage had been done. I mean, it was pretty damn close when it was all said and done, but imagine if the entire team was available there from the beginning of Mansfield, things probably could have gone very different. And with the tempo that they picked up, even though they may have lost out on Shelly, they're still getting the Dragon directly afterwards. It wasn't one of those things where Botany Down came out on top. It really was, to be honest, just a trade most of the way across the board.
Yeah, well, Dragon 2 secured now for Mansfield here, and actually in a really good position, but with the Rift Herald in Obsess's back pocket, I am very curious to see, well, where's he going to drop it? Like, you have the tier 1 on the top half of the map here, but I feel like it might be more valuable, yeah, to drop it on the tier 2 in mid, really get a hard push going on, because right now, Blazing can't stop you.
Yeah, this is actually a fantastic play by Botany. They've recognized that everyone's split. This is one of the rare moments the whole team split up because they're just trying to do lane management for the time being. What we can do there is after because what it was a dragon into lane management. Everyone split up. Everyone went to their respective lanes. We need to push these out so we can then look to make our next play. Well, Botany Down said, you know what? Every time you look to do that lane management, we're going to punish you. That's what we're going to look to do every single time. And they just jumped on it, dropped down the Rift Tower, make sure to get a huge amount of damage, not only onto that initial tower there, but also directly into the one tower on the tower behind. So that's going to be another option there. And then from there, they just decided to push back. That was really good macro play coming through from Botany Downs, and it shows why they've been on such fire throughout this competition.
Yeah, and it's given them I wouldn't say a stranglehold, but they're giving them some room to work with in this game, because right now, Mansfield is putting up a hell of a fight with his all-in composition. Hell, we saw it in the last fight where it literally came down to last man standing from Goblets, the tankiest member in this game, bar maybe Kip Kangaroo. So these fights are very much just piling on top of each other, and for Mansfield, I think that's brilliant. Look at their composition. It specializes in just close range scrapping. But then you look at Botany. The Lucian likes his range. The Karma likes her range. The Ziggs loves his range. So you need to find for Botany a way to sort of keep your backline safe. Because last fight, I don't know if it got caught in camera as much, but Kid Kangaroo basically altered the bottom lane of Botany Downs, caught both members, and that kind of is why the fight went as badly as it did for them.
So yeah, especially because Closer was able to come in a little bit later as well and just delete them directly afterwards. Like a lot of damage is there, and a lot of it is based off them executing, landing their ultimates. But at the same time, again, if they've got the ultimates in, like they're holding onto them, you have to be wary of them. That's the big thing. Again, I said before, like, hey, how do you avoid these? Positioning. Well, how do you get a massive advantage when your teammates are doing really good on their positioning? Well, in order to do that positioning, they have to be giving a level of space which makes it safe for you to take objectives. That's the big key here. and
no.
that's becoming a problem. That's a really good pillar, but Hat's still able to get out.
Yeah, Hat's able to still run there, but the Mega Venom puts the flash, and the culling run! Run, Hats!
Yeah, he's not liking that situation. This is huge because you've actually managed to force out the jungler here, and even though they don't have full control of the pit, they still have a decent amount. They could actually possibly force a dragon here, not a dragon, sorry, a Baron if they wanted to.
Now, I don't... Oh, no, they're on Baron. They are just straight up on Baron. Now, Botany on this objective is nothing surprising, and it has been sought out immediately by their opponents here. So they're not going to have to face check, and no early shenanigans, no early Baron for once, Mendrix. And this is a bit odd, considering that's kind of Botany's bread and butter.
Yeah, like Botany at this point was just doing a bit of a, I guess you could say, a stat check here, saying, "Hey, you guys, paying attention? Can we take this Baron for free? Let's just check to see what happens, right?" And obviously, Mansfield's like, "Yeah, we are paying attention. Like, don't take the Baron." And they go, "No, fair enough. We just wanted to make sure, just obviously, if we could get the Baron, we'd take the Baron. But we just, if you're not gonna let us have the Baron, that's fair enough."
Yeah.
And damn.
Like you said, it's a check to
Yeah.
make sure you are paying attention to what is going on in this game. You're not on autopilot. And thankfully, Mansfield have successfully passed the check here, as I'm not sure that's the fight you want, Blitz. So he'll back away, but are they on it again? Now, here's the trick. They know they're on Baron, and the reason why, despite the control ward, is if you have a regular ward in the pit, and it's denied by a control ward, you can still see them hitting the Baron.
Yeah.
Like, that is an actual mechanic of the game. So they'll go in for a steal, but no! Not even able to steal it. They may have known it was happening, but they weren't able to do anything about it.
Oh,
As
wow.
Hats is again the target! Let him play jungle, please! Oh, man. Sheila's going to get out of there in one piece, but Blazing Spirit is forced to commit to a fight that they may not want, definitely not want, as Danny has all the shields in the wall closer, gets taunted up and taken down. And again, Mansfield, as a 5-man unit, they're unstoppable. But when you take them apart, bit by bit by bit, they are more than mortal.
Yeah, you can really see that everything just made perfect sense with the way they played it out there. They said, "Hey, keep Kangaroos here. Let's force this Baron." That's basically one of their main initiators just out of the game there. And they immediately said, "Hey, they're out of position. We can force a fight directly afterwards." Everything was just so well played there.
I think
They could possibly end.
No,
They might be able to end. They might be able to win this. Here we go.
Yeah, Hats is gone. Hats doesn't even get the chance to ulti multiple people there, and now they will simply fall by the wayside. Blazing Spirit comes in. He is the last bastion of defense, dives in, but it's too early. Multi-man knock-up, but it just does not matter in this situation. Closes up, will cut down Snow, but Obsessed is just free hitting the turn. No! The focus was split!
Okay. Well, game's still going.
Oh, brother.
Still happening for the time being. Big
Blitz
advantages
here,
though
right?
picked up here by.
Yeah,
Well,
Blitz-
down. He's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to sort of run away from your own minion.
Oh wait, he's still going.
Flash? Okay.
Flash. Yeah, he's out. Never mind.
Yeah, but Dragon number 3 secured here by Mansfield.
True. There's a win condition there. There's a win condition.
Yes, there is. And that's a sort of the sign of Shen
They're
TP
TP.
backdoor.
They're TP.
Shen TP backdoor.
Yeah, it's happening. They're
Double
both TP.
TP! Double TP! But do they know? You gotta go now. You kinda gotta go now because they're recalling.
They're gonna stop the backs. No, they're back again.
Oh man, that's
Man,
if you're going to do that, I feel like you have to do it the moment you TP in. There's no point wasting around. There's no point just sort of watching it happen. You need to go.
I feel like we were robbed, man.
I was just
I
ready
would've-
for the wild.
I would have loved that finish. That would have been so
Yeah.
cheeky, but in the end here, obviously they didn't really pull the trigger, so of course the game is going to continue on. And again, the win condition is still there for Mansfield. They have a way to actually take this match out. The Ocean Drake would be fantastic for the team composition. Like I said, in the middle of a team fight, you're all in, you want to force the fight, you
Why
want to
is
go
Snow
for the
by
heal.
himself?
Close is going for it.
What is Snow doing down here? Snow's probably going to die. No, never mind. He's staying united. Never mind. Ignore what I'm saying. Pillar gets the slow, and Closer is dead. As the fight on the top side now, there is no Shen to back them up, which means that Dilma is going to fall with Danny in this situation. It was a bait. It was a bait, Mendrix. That's totally the plan.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've seen Snow do it from time to time again as well. Like he loves to look for his baits, and it makes sense. Goblets with that ultimate's the perfect tool to use in that case. Closer sees that has probably done it a million times before. This is an ADC out of position. I am now a 3 item Yasuo. I can 100% jump in on top of this, get the kills directly from him like that. I know for a fact that I win the one-on-one against him. All I need to do is make sure I use the abilities in this particular order and basically just match it out, not accounting for that Shen ultimate,
And
which
not
means
accounting for
that obviously he was just an autopilot and they were able to pick up not only just a kill, but obviously more control on the map by taking down that turret.
Yeah, and that's really heartbreaking for Closer there. The saving grace, though, was on the top half of the map. Dilma and Danny did end up getting taken down there. And, of course, that would be a nice pickup for Hatt's Diana, who finally has a stopwatch, Azonya's Hourglass, sorry, so that they will be able to, when they do dive into the fights, because last time we saw it, it was a quick journey.
Yep.
This time, hopefully, with a bit of protection out of the Zonyas, it won't be an 80% speed run of how to get back to the fountain.
Well, a lot of actual Zonia Hourglasses are being used here, or actually not Zonia Hourglasses. Stopwatches are in place right now for the team of Botany, and looks like they're looking to possibly force a fight here with that, but the ward's going to stop them on their journey, so they're going to be able to be relatively safe in that sense. I think a big thing here, again, is that they're going to be holding onto those stopwatches to make sure that they're going to basically avoid this. And here we go. We have an ultimate being played here, but nothing's coming out of it. Blazing.
Yeah. Oh my lord. Blazing isn't going to go down here, forced to run, but Snow actually lets them go in this situation. Now, Goblins has access to that ultimate. So, yeah, you just back away.
Positioning, Midnight. Positioning, as you can see.
Oh, look at base! Wait, the Nexus is open!
They're going for it, maybe.
Never mind, it's just one super minion. I got too excited there.
Okay.
I'm actually going to zoom my camera hella out so I can see what's going on. So, the siege does start commencing now. And while this is happening, Shen's bot side and super minions are mid.
Yeah, you can really see what their plan here is literally go like, hey, if we can find a pick, we'll take it, but we're not going to engage in a team fight.
Oh my god, Hass is so low again, not able to do anything. It's just a slow bleed in this situation. Kip Kangaroo can't even flash Unstoppable Force anybody in this situation. But look at the positioning. They need to do something. They want to do something. But the better question is, what are they going to be able to do in this situation? No, the answer is not get the backline. They did not get the priority members as everything is being thrown to Snow. And unfortunately for Mansfield, this was their final fight. I'm not so sure that it's going to work out in their favor. Blazing Spirit, the last bastion, not able to do a damn thing. They will get cut down. Mansfield will fall victim. And Botany down Secondary College has looked unstoppable. They have looked immortal. And they will win through the lower bracket and will be facing off against Kingsgrove North in the future.
This was such a fantastic start to Fishing series for Botany Downs the entire way through. They actually had a bit of a rough start in both of these games here and were able to bring it back. That really shows this is a team that can play from behind. This is a team that understands what they need to do in that macro sense. And every single time, they've possibly been giving us a little bit of a taste of what would have been an amazing finish. Again, didn't happen because, of course, they didn't pull the trigger on the back door. But you can see they do see that options in their mind, the opportunities being there, playing out all those calculations while still playing the game. So this is a pretty damn strong team. Really excited to see what they do in the future.
Yeah, and well, we might as well look at it one more time. An MVP coming in for game number 2 of our second best of 3 series is going to be the jungler coming in here for Botany. Obsessed time and time again, whether it's the Jarvan or the Trundle, is leading the charge in the early game for his team, saying, don't worry, lads, I'll open the door and I'll drag you down well through it if I gotta. And it's done brilliant work on these champions.
Yeah, his ability to just start the team fights is what's really crazy about it. You can see before when they were able to go through, we're going to just have a little bit of a test, see if we can go for the Baron. Nah, okay, not going to happen. No worries, just rinse and repeat. We'll get it again because we know that we're able to hold Kip Kangaroo in the bot lane before. What's this? Kip Kangaroo hasn't had a chance to back and be theirs. Let's just start a team fight. Obsessed just runs in, completely divides the retreating members by using the pillars in the appropriate spaces. Fantastic pillar usage. And again, was literally leading the charge, but also one of the least deaths on the team as well. That's something that we really have to take into account. And when I look at this across the board, it really was a team effort by most of this team. The performance performances from Goblets was consistent across the board, did some pretty crazy stuff there. Danny has been really keeping Snow Blue in a position of power the entire time. So really, I just want to take away again, it was Obsessed that managed to get to MVP twice, of course, Snow Blue and Dilma, but Goblets and Danny have been performing amazingly as well. It's been really hard to pick out what's going to be the case here. It's just there's a little bit of edges on top. So really amazing performance from Botany Downs all round.
Yeah, but with that next step, Botany Downs will have to, look at what they're going to have to deal with in the future. Kingsgrove North, the representative from New South Wales, is waiting in the wings for them. So, of course, we will have a New South Wales and a New Zealand throw down. But, guys, on that note, that is it for us over at Meta HSE. Of course, I want to thank everyone for coming and participating in the games today. Of course, the players, the admins, and so on and so forth. The players who've played throughout the entirety of the tournament, because of course we are in the final stages of this tournament in 2021. But guys, on that note, take care of yourselves out there, and we'll see you for future games.